When did you start focusing on something that led you closest to what you're doing now?
Well, frankly, through a really good friend that I made at university, actually, and I pay homage to him now, is a lad called Fabrice Spelter. Fabrice sort of immediately started saying things to me like, you know, we need to start doing some work experience. And I was like, well, okay, mate, but you know, got a lot to learn here, haven't we? Let's just do our college work. And he was like, yeah, man, no, the college work is one thing, but if we want a job, we need to start getting on some films. And I was like, okay. Well, he said, like, let's see what's going on. So he gets the phone and he phones up Pinewood Studios reception and he was like, hi, could you tell me what films are going on at the minute? And happily enough, reception went, we've got 8 films being made here at the minute, listed all of them. Which film would you like to be put through to? And the art director would pick up and he'd be like, hey, we're a couple of students at Wimbledon School of Art. Wondered if you needed any work experience or help. We'd be happy to do a week or 2 weeks. And we got experience doing that.
Your physical presence, or not your physical presence, your mental presence, your spiritual presence, your presence on a shoot is sometimes what's needed. You know, it's just being there, having somebody to speak to, an attitude, a thought, a reflection, a kind of vibe. You know, you're a very can-do person.
Yep.
And keeping that level of energy up is really, really important. We've covered the idea of your presence and how important that is. But the other part of it is problem solving. It's a technical problem solving. So if I go to you and say, Andy, I want to photograph the model in a waterfall, but I want the waterfall to be in the studio. Over to you.
I mean, it's the bit I love. I've got to be honest. It's the bit I really love. It falls into that category of, it may very well easily be nobody realises the kind of problems that you've given us because of the way it ends up being shot. Do you know what I think though? It comes from my old boss Michael had given me a sketch and it was up to me to figure out how to make that. And the important thing, the same with you, it can't just be a problem solved, you know. It can't just be well, yeah, I'll get a bucket of water and I'll pour it from here. It's a waterfall, it's not a bucket of water, so we're talking thousands and thousands of gallons a second. You know, there's a fine line. There will come a point occasionally we need to go and seek some advice off someone. I do have lots of people I lean against massively. I always work with at least one assistant, and that one assistant means the world to me. They come everywhere with me, they have to see everything, and I do what Michael did to me, which is I try and dump as much of them as possible, throw them in the deep end, and constantly show them how I'd get out of it. The next people I've always leant on because of my film background is construction managers. They're fantastic people. So construction managers / special effects people, they kind of are one and the same people. And it's probably, if this hadn't have panned out for me, not so much the construction manager, but special effects and all that kind of stuff is perhaps where I would have gone. But those guys, when push comes to shove, the majority of them were engineers. A good construction manager or a special effects guy is an engineer, whether they've trained in it or whether they've learned it. And it's a certain character and it's a certain person that you know immediately, and perhaps this is what I can sometimes do for you. If they honestly say they can do it, they'll do it. They're not going to let you down, you know. No. Somebody might deliver a load of coloured snakes when you're supposed to get black ones, but generally speaking, they're not going to let you down. The waterfall thing was, you know, it's bigger than that. You know, let's be real. It was a studio where we had, as usual, we should have had 3 days, we ended up having 2. So we've condensed a lot of ideas into 2 days. They're long days, but they're big ideas. So we'd decided we want to do some underwater filming, and by this point in our relationship, we've done quite a bit of underwater filming, so we know a really good company to go to who provide us with a tank, and it takes 2 days to fill. So we get that in motion, and we know if it takes 2 days to fill, it probably takes 2 days to empty. So that's a fixed thing in our studio. So there's a problem before you even knew it, because you can't just get rid of it for the next shot. Then I talk to my guy and go like, okay, we want to make a waterfall, but it's got to be serious. So we start in his workshop, me and him start doing calculations and working out flow, and we suddenly work out you need 3,000 gallons a second or something being pumped over this waterfall. It should work. And we found the only pump in the country, because once you've got something to work towards, you've got a figure, then you can start ringing round, and you ring round and you say, have you got a pump that will pump this? And we've got our tank, fortunately, at the bottom. So we build a scaffolding structure to get up, and we think, well, we've got to have a clear background behind our tank. You want a white cove, so why don't we straddle it and we'll build our next set above it. So we end up building and it makes sense too, because you might as well catch the water coming down from our waterfall in that set. But it meant having to pump the water right up to the top of the studio, and it just about, if you put one set here and one set above, it just about gave enough room for me and Carl to lie on our tops and work the whole thing from there.
Yeah.
But that's a rational, problem-solving thing to do, and that's the spice of life for me. I relish it. I relish it.